little tipsy. I'm gonna be honest with you. Jace is too funny. I've gotten off track
Clary
too many
forgets
times.
Simon
So
too many
much.
times.
Jesus. Hi guys, welcome to Kristen and Katie Read. I'm Kristen.
I'm Katie.
And we like to
Read.
Part 3.
Part 3.
The Descent Beckons.
The Descent beckons as the ascent beckoned. William Carlos Williams, The Descent. So, William Carlos Williams is an American poet. He wrote the poem The Descent. This quote is pulled from the last stanza of this poem. So basically the idea is that sometimes whenever you are trying to protect yourself or you end up going like further into something than you realized, coming out of that's a lot harder. And so even though you were like trying to make it better in the past, so like as it says, like beckons, the descent, beckoned, the ascent, it's kind of like flipping it now. So like this is kind of like the through the looking glass part.
Yeah.
So like
What you see is not an accurate.
right. So this really sets up part 3 because now all of this exposition that we got is totally flipped on its head.
It's like nonstop. Here's a story from the past. Here's a story from the past. Here's another story from the past. So part 3, it's only 3 chapters or so. Chapter 21 is the werewolf's tale. Long story short, we finally get to see Clary realize that Luke is a werewolf. Honestly, nothing has ever been more obvious.
His name
ever.
is Lucian.
It's too much, almost. No, not almost, it is.
And then wait, what's his gray mark?
Gray mark.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So in case you were wondering, he was destined to be a werewolf. But we now get the story of the circle and the uprising from Luke's point of view. So Luke tells her that he's known Jocelyn forever. His story is very much about his relationship with Jocelyn. So while it's all about the history of the circle and the uprising, it's really about every major marker for him revolves around Jocelyn. It honestly feels a lot like Snape talking about Lily.
Oh, I was going to say it's kind of a lot like Simon and Clary.
Oh, for sure. Everything is about that. Yeah, she's the major marker of all the stories. So Luke explains he's known Jocelyn forever. They grew up together. Valentine started a purist cult in school. That's what I have here.
Chill.
Essentially, cool. Yeah. It wasn't obviously teed up that way.
Voldemort of him.
Very Voldemort-esque of him. It was queued up as something, again, that used to mainly be focused on demons. So felt like a noble cause to join that turned into this like purist. That's where it became more of that cultist view later on. Again, like expressing that Valentine had these extreme thoughts that everyone should have the option, the potential to become a shadow hunter, that this 80% that wouldn't make it through the ascension was worth it. He explains that Valentine's dad was killed on a routine raid of a werewolf encampment, and he was never the same after that. So after that happened is when Jocelyn and him got married, then moved to her family's estate. And this is when Valentine shifted from not just hating demons, but also downworlders. So again, like it's been pointed out to us through this whole story, through characters that we love, downworlders are part demon. So it's so interesting because obviously we're immediately cued to like be revolted by that idea, but you can see how even those who are totally against Valentine have those prejudice built into them. Yes. What a masterclass she is of like weaving that stuff together.
Yes.
Jocelyn becomes pregnant with her first child. So we learn that Luke and Valentine were parabatai. And that's when Luke got bit. So it's suspicious. It definitely seems like we find out later that Valentine arranged for this to happen, but Luke does not know that yet. Valentine told him he should kill himself rather than become a werewolf. Luke does not do that. He runs away. Eventually, Jocelyn comes to find him, and she, at this point, has already had her son, and she tells Luke that she needs his help to stop Valentine, and that he's going to be making a move at the signing of the Accords. So before the signing of the Accords, Valentine pushes for one more attempt to talk the Clave into seeing his side. They do not. And this is where Valentine actually pairs up with a demon to steal the cup. so wild. So we learned that at the time of the Accord, Luke and Jocelyn had arranged for the Downworlders, these werewolves, and I think other Downworlders, burst in and help save everyone. So ironically, Valentine's plan to stop the Accords and having these Downworlders help almost ensured that the Accords happened.
Right.
We learned that Michael Wayland hid himself away at the manor with his young son and grieved the loss of his wife. I have a note. Why is this man not in jail?
Mm-hmm.
He just is
Goes
gone.
home.
And no one,
go home.
where are the detectives? We need a new system, folks. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, the fact that the Inquisitor is like the only police of a police force. That's what
all
Shadow
Hunters
are.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's definitely that idea of like, it's hard to prosecute your own, I guess.
Wild that he is out there. This reminded me a lot of like, wait a second, why are the Malfoys free? Like, they should be in jail for what they've done.
Yeah.
Clearly guilty. It's so confusing to me.
Malfoy.
Right?
Why are you not in jail?
Why aren't they in jail? Insane to me. And because they get to live in their fancy manor.
Mm-hmm.
And like Michael Wayland and his son just go to his country home. Chapter 22, Renwick's Ruin. We find out that Clary realizes the initials JC were not her dad's, but rather her brother's. She believes that, from Luke's story, that when Valentine fled and Luke and Jocelyn arrived back at the manor, they find the burned ruins of Jocelyn's parents and a baby. They believe that JC and her parents are dead. I mean,
and a man, like an adult.
Yes,
Michael.
Yeah. And so, really devastating. And she realizes that the portal at Dorothea's is gone, but there's another portal in New York. Could Valentine be there? They mentioned Renwick. So she has Simon do some Googling. Always call your good friend Simon to use him. She learns that Luke killed the previous pack leader to get the loyalty of this pack that he now has. There's a quote where she notices that he does confirm that he killed the pack leader, but not with pride, which I think she's trying to express that like he wasn't proud that he did this. But I don't know why we do this. I understand that with real wolves in our world, this is how the alpha is determined.
Dominance.
I just don't know why with werewolves, who we also establish are humans and
people,
not demons, that this is the way we do it.
Yeah, it's definitely alarming that like in a story where we're like fighting to show the humanity of the downworld, that this is how Luke, surrounded by bones in the dream, has to establish himself as alpha.
And he does not just do this here, he does it again later, and he's done it in the past. It's murder.
Yeah.
Looking back, it just really does not hold up.
Because Luke is like meant to be a good guy.
Good guy.
He's the good guy. Like,
and he just kills
stereotypical good guy, but he has a ruthlessness.
Yeah. So they get to the island with the pack. They find her mother. She's in a trance. She's in a white dress. Luke kills Blackwell. Pangborn comes in. Clary and Luke get separated. She's trying to find Jace. She does find him in a weird scenario. It doesn't look like he's being held against his will. He seems very in a trance, like a different person almost. And Jace reveals when Valentine walks into the room, Valentine is his father. Valentine is the man who raised him. That is what Jace tells Clary.
Talking about like step aside Star Wars.
My God, step aside, Luke and Leia. Look
Dad
out.
reveal.
And then we're into the final chapter. Valentine is the title. So obviously he's been name dropped since page 2, right?
The buildup has been established.
Yes. Jace introduces Clary as Clarissa Frey, a friend. Valentine is very smart. He immediately can tell that Jace and Clary have feelings for each other. And he uses that to play on their emotions. He knows and can tell that Clary now realizes that she never had a mundane human father, that Valentine is her father.
Simple math told her this.
You would think it would have told her sooner, but here we are. He explains that he pretended to be Michael Wayland, knowing that the Lightwoods would take care of his son like their own, the ring is easily explained. Oh my gosh. Valentine has completely warped Jace's mind of what he believes is to be true. You know, he thought he saw this man die. He thought this man was Michael Wayland, and has since learned that he's actually Valentine. So he has this whole past and feelings towards it, and is desperately clinging to hoping that he's not. There's a simple explanation for all of these things.
Well, and remember what we talked about whenever he like meets Dorothea, and he's like so sure of his place in the Shadowhunters, like in the Clave. He has a purpose. He's so sure of himself that he can wear that like armor that he parades around,
and he's clinging desperately to it.
Right, like this can't crumble away for him.
Valentine convinces Jace that Hodge wanted the cup for himself. Clary's like, that's crap, that's not true. And Jace is just like, Clary, stop. No, yes it is. Valentine says, you guys should sit down. Clary's like, heck no. Kick rocks, I'm not doing that. And he explains, he calls Jace Jonathan. And Clary says, wait, why did he call you Jonathan? He says, it's a nickname, my initials for JC. And Clary finishes that sentence for him and says, Jonathan Christopher. She realizes, she finally clicks in her head, we are siblings. Like, that's him. Valentine's not making this up. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no. So Valentine proceeds. Jace still doesn't know. Clary's put this together because she obviously lived with her mom with the JC box and has heard Luke's story. Valentine tells them the story that Michael died during the uprising and waited. He moved into the home, raised Jace. After 10 years, he claims that he received a letter saying that someone had figured him out. This is when he formulates the ruse to convince Jace and everyone else that Michael Wayland has died.
But really, he's a cold-hearted monster that was beginning to care for Jace, and so he had to send him away.
Yeah, so fakes his own murder
in front of Jace.
10-year-old son to witness. 10 years old. It's crazy.
Father of the year.
Finally, Luke bursts in. The old Parabatis have a fight.
Which, like, knowing what we know about Parabatis now,
so
devastating.
It is. It really is much more devastating. Clary blocks Luke. Valentine, realizing Clary is in front of Luke, has no he's not going to stop, is swinging his sword until Jace throws a knife to block it. Valentine lies and said, I never would have hurt your sister, Jace, my God. Which we know is a lie. He was clearly going to hurt Clary to kill Luke.
Yes.
Somehow something else happens where now Luke is again in harm's way. Clary's out of the way. Another one of Luke's wolves comes in and dies totally unnecessarily. I have a note. Multiple wolves die for no reason. I get it, there would be casualties, but it just feels like she used them as throwaway characters.
Yeah, they're definitely like red shirts.
And we get another Valentine just talking. And you see that Valentine is going to kill him. He's already injured. And Jace...
Clary convinces Jace to interfere.
Yeah.
Because a theme that will come up and we will talk about later is found family.
Yes. The more fighting happens, Luke crumbles on the floor. Clary really thinks she's lost Jace to Valentine. He's going to deliver the killing blow, and this is the time where Clary is already out of the way. So, quote, Luke was no longer there. Jace had moved faster than Clary would have believed possible, even for a shadow hunter.
Foreshadowing.
Knocked him out of the way, sending him sprawling to the side. This is just another example. Like, Jace is more than just a shadow hunter. So I love that foreshadowing.
Oh, yeah. It's like such a drop in the bucket of just like a lot's happening. Yeah. I'm going to add this tiny detail.
He chooses Luke over the only man he's ever known as family. It's just wild. He tells Valentine to leave. He declares his name is Jace Wayland. It's kind of cheesy. But it's just so funny. He declares his name is Jace Wayland. Jace acknowledges that Valentine is the one who really betrayed him, not his mother. Valentine tells him that the cup is in Idris, and it's somewhere they'll never find it. And this is where we get another quote that really just, I mean, honestly, just blatantly tells us the theme of this novel. Through the looking glass, one might say, revealing that the mirror is a portal.
Yes, the mirror in the room.
Yes.
Is a portal.
Standing in front of the portal, Valentine goes through. Jace says, I should follow him. I gotta get the cup. Clary's like, you can't do it. Like, stay back. Let the clave do that. And Valentine taunts Jace, using his compassion against him, like convincing Jace that that's something bad. And this is
his childhood home.
His childhood home, and says, you can come with me. Jace says no, and he says, I'll kill you. And he says, you couldn't. And he comes back up to the portal, puts the sword on his heart, and says, you're too weak, you couldn't do it. It's such a classic. You see this in movies and TV shows all the time, where like they put their head up on the gun, they're like, you could never pull the trigger. Like, it's truly
right,
a scene we've seen so many times, and it's flipping the script, saying that someone's compassion and their inability to end someone's life is a weakness.
Right.
And Jace thinks he's weak because he doesn't kill Valentine.
Which goes back to the Falcon story.
100% his compassion for the Falcon. Right. Full story.
Which is why Valentine left him to begin with. He couldn't kill his Falcon. Mm-hmm. So Jace couldn't be the son that Valentine needed.
Exactly. So then Valentine's fist comes back. Clary thinks he's going to hit him, but really he's shattering the portal. So the looking glass that we have been seeing is shattered. And it is truly a metaphor for Jace, who is this solid person who we thought knew exactly who he was, is completely shattered where we leave him in this book.
Set adrift. His dad isn't his dad,
the girl he loves is his sister.
And his whole life purpose is just like torn away from him.
So that's pretty much where this book ends. There's an epilogue where Clary wants Jace to go to the hospital with her because she thinks that if her mother hears her son's voice that she will wake up. Spoiler alert, she doesn't.
She doesn't.
And that really messes with Jace's head even further. Clary, not a good idea. So, Katie, tell me about, like, when you first read the turtle in the room? The elephant in the room is the brother and sister. I'm almost done.
Let me tell you about the turtle in the room.
And truly, I remember reading it, and looking back, knowing that they believe they're siblings bothers me more in hindsight. I just never believed they were siblings.
Right.
I never believed that an author would truly present to me an incestual relationship. Now, granted, I didn't know...
And then you read Game of Thrones?
I didn't know...
Or A Song of Ice and Fire?
George R.R. Martin, is that his name?
George R.R. Martin.
I didn't know him yet. So I was like, people aren't writing incest. People aren't doing that.
I agree.
So... for people that we told to read this that believe they were siblings, and we're like, I can't read that. They're siblings. That's gross. I was like, what are you talking about? They're clearly not siblings.
Why would you think that I would encourage you to read a book about incest?
Okay, but it's funny she says that because she told me to read it after only 2 books were out, not knowing.
Again, I never believed that they were siblings. No. Never. Again, she like writes the chemistry so well that it's like perverse, that it's like then twisted to be like, oh, you've never been like this with anyone else because you're related. And it's like, no. Mm-hmm. Which I agree. Rereading it, it's a bad look for both of them. And it's an equally bad look for me because I don't care.
So outside of the sibling turtle, I love this book. Katie?
5 out of 5.
I don't know if you could tell from the 3 hours we just talked to you, but we love this book.
We love this book.
We hope that our nuggets were insightful, that you enjoyed them. We're going to be doing this with every book. So stay tuned. Like, comment, subscribe. If those are things you want to do, follow us on Instagram. And this is Kristen and Katie Reed. Thanks. Bye.